Hey, welcome back. Nick Deckard here, your local agent in Ocean City, New Jersey. We're going to dive right into the 5 things you need to know before you buy your second home, whether it's in Ocean City or any other place in the United States. Now, a lot of people do this a little bit backwards, in my opinion. So I'm going to cover what's normally the 5th step in your process. I'm going to put it up to number 1. The very first thing you should do once you have some idea of where you may want to buy a second home is to find a local real estate agent. The reason this is first is I've seen all too many times people go about this process on their own with no guidance, with no counsel from an actual local expert who specifically, and this is important, lives in the market they serve. Not lives across the bridge, not lives an hour away, truly is embedded in the community and can give you every answer that you may not even know that you need to make a good decision. Real estate is extremely localized, so in order for you to save time, which, let's be honest, is the most valuable resource out there, and we don't want you wasting any of it, you need to find an expert because they're going to be able to help you with these next 4 things I'm going to touch on. So the second thing you need to know and what you need to do is to evaluate your short and long-term needs and goals. Too many people come off of their vacation high and on a whim decide to buy a property like the one that they just happened to stay in. Now, the bad news is that that property may have absolutely nothing to do and may not have a place in their future goals. What I mean by that is, let's say that you live 50 miles outside of the area you're going to buy in. Are you going to come down for the weekends? Are you only going to come down once a year? What is your tolerance for maintenance? Are you okay coming down to maintain a property on a consistent basis, or would you rather have a hands-off option? And a big one that gets overlooked is when it comes down to what is the future use of the property to you and your family? Is this a possible retirement location? Is this something you want to pass down to your kids and their kids after them? There is a lot that goes into making this decision, so you need to make sure that you're very clear about where your second home is going to fit into your plans. And that segues right into number 3, and you need to understand the pros and cons of each different property type in the market you're considering, and which one is best suited for you. As I mentioned, it doesn't only come down to maintenance. That is an important item to consider, but it's not the only one. Something else that a lot of folks do when they own a second home or a vacation home, and we're going to touch on this here in the next 2 points, is what is the rental situation potentially like should you decide to do that right away or in the future. Just like buying a primary home, this is a big decision. This is a big investment. You need to understand the ins and outs of each of these property types. For example, here in Ocean City, there's one particular type of property called a condo-tel that limits owner use to 30 days per quarter. And that's a very defined process. So if that works for you, fantastic. But if not, and you get caught off guard by that, you're going to be pretty upset that you didn't know that ahead of time. So please do your due diligence. Again, speak with the agent who you found in step number 1 and go through each and every property type and figure out which one does fit you and your family, not only right now, but down the road as well. So number 4 comes down to the finances and tax breaks. Owning a second home can be a blessing, or it can become a burden if you don't understand what you're getting into from a financial standpoint. And that isn't just talking about the mortgage, taxes, insurance, utilities, all of the basic costs of owning any property. Owning a second home can become a tremendous asset if you utilize and take advantage of a lot of the tax incentives that there are out there. For example, if you rent out your home fewer than 15 days a year, you don't have to pay any income tax on that rental income. But as soon as you exceed that threshold, there are benefits as well. For example, you can write off your operating expenses. So only you and your financial advisor, which hopefully you have one, can figure out exactly which way you are going to use your property in the most beneficial way from a financial standpoint. And let's be clear, most folks buy a second home for more than just the financial reasons. This is a very personal decision. And sometimes this is simply a pleasure-based decision for you and your family, and you're not too concerned about the financial outcome of this. But I have to be very upfront and say that you should be thinking about that. Even if this is a pleasure purchase, you need to be aware of what you could be doing to earn a little bit of extra cash or to save some as well. And last but not least, that brings us to number 5. Renting out your property. Now, people come down and buy a home and think absolutely nothing of turning it into a rental property without understanding anything that goes along with that. If you're going to go down this road, you need to be very, very clear and aware of what your responsibilities are as a landlord. There are a lot more responsibilities than people realize when they get into this. So do yourself a favor and become very familiar with the fair housing laws and also the landlord-tenant laws in the state that you intend to purchase in, because that may make or break your decision on what you choose to do. For example, if you decide that buying at a certain price point requires you to rent out a certain amount, then by default, you're going to have to take on the responsibilities as a landlord. But if you were to dig into those documents and truly get a feel for what you need to do, that may change your mind, and that may encourage you to pursue a more affordable price point where you do not have to rent. And on that note, when you're browsing properties and you see a rental income number plopped in the description by the listing agent, do not take that at face value. There are a lot of folks who do not understand how we speak about rental income and the jargon that's associated with it. So make sure you know how to analyze these rental properties if rental income is important to you. The last thing you want is to get into something expecting one thing and one amount of income. All of a sudden you're 10, 20, 30K less than you're expecting goes into your pocket, and that can cause a financial issue for you. And with that, we have wrapped up our top 5 things that you need to know about buying a second home, whether here in Ocean City or anywhere in the United States. Now, if you're planning to do this in Ocean City, I'd be happy to answer any questions. But if you're looking in any other market around the country, or heck, even around the world, I am connected and I have a great network of agents around the globe who focus specifically on second homes. So if you're thinking about that, reach out to me. I'm happy to connect you with an expert in that area as well. But if you have any questions about anything we've covered, drop them in the comments below or reach out directly. My contact information is in the description. So I appreciate you spending time checking this out, and I will see you on the next video.